And I'll be leading you through 3 days of under-21 competition between Scotland, England, Northern Ireland and Wales. Later, we'll see host Scotland take on Wales, but we begin this afternoon with the opening match between England and Northern Ireland. In a moment, we'll take a look at the squads, but first, a reminder of how to play your part at home. Join the conversation on Twitter at Netball Europe using the hashtag Netball Europe 21. And to keep up with all the action live and on demand, head to the YouTube channel and subscribe for free. youtube.com/Netball Europe. Joining me this afternoon for the first match is Maggie Jackson, Netball Europe Board Director, former England coach and current England selector. Maggie, welcome. Tournament this weekend is a precursor to some exciting netball in the future. Tell us a little bit about the competition this afternoon.
The competition this afternoon is going to be very exciting. It's the start really of a whole 2-year programme ready for World Youth Netball Cup in 2017 in Botswana, and you're going to have all 4 teams really starting to look at developing a long squad for those 2 years.
And do you think, Maggie, that some of these players are likely to feature in the squads going forward?
Oh, definitely. We have in England, we have 100% of them all eligible to play in the Netball Youth World Cup, and 9 out of the 12 Northern Ireland are also eligible.
So, in terms of the first game here, England versus Northern Ireland, is it likely to be a close competition? What are your thoughts?
My feelings are, if we look back at 2013, that England finished 4th, and Northern Ireland finished 13th, so I would anticipate that England are going to dominate. But we have got a real mixture of ages and experiences in both teams, and you really don't know what errors or what good play is going to come out there.
So in effect, all these players, most of the players we're seeing this weekend are going to be competing for a place in that coveted 2017 World Youth Netball Cup competition down in Botswana.
Yes, and next October 2016 it's going to be the under-21 World qualifying, and really that's the first stage, and that's why this tournament is particularly important. It's for the first time really that a lot of these players will have played in this kind of arena.
And I think tonight's going to be interesting because we actually have the youngest player of the tournament playing this evening. Do you think she'll take to the coach, Michelle McGee for Northern Ireland?
I know, and it's exciting, and we're looking forward to. She's going to be starting out at goal defence, so I'm really looking forward to seeing what she's like.
So Maggie, as you can see, England are warming up on the court. So let's have a look at the starting 7 for both teams. So England starting at goal shooter is Alice Travis. Goal attack, Rhea Dixon. Rebecca Holt coming out at wing attack. At centre, Jess Shaw. The captain for England, Gabrielle Marshall, takes to the court at wing defence. At goal defence, Francesca Williams, the vice-captain. And at goalkeeper, Rebecca Airy. Subs for England are George Fisher, Alana John, Vicky Ostelar, Olivia Leach and Lydia Walker. For Northern Ireland, at goal shooter, we have Rachel Moore. Goal attack, Clodagh McCambridge. Louise O'Neill starts at wing attack. And captain for Northern Ireland, Katie Johnson, gets a defence, Chloe Howes. Goal defence, the youngest player of the tournament this weekend, Michelle McGee, at 15 years of age. And goalkeeper, Jenna Bowman. Subs for Northern Ireland, Hannah Adair, who's the vice-captain. Emma Cartmill, Kira Gibson, Catherine Hamilton and Emma McGee, sister of Michelle, who's taking the court. So, looking at that starting 7 lineup for both squads, Maggie, who do you think will be the players we should be looking out for and why?
I think in the Northern Ireland team, you've clearly got a very experienced Jenna Bowman at goalkeeper, who's the younger sister of Lisa Bowman, who we saw in the Open in May, representing Northern Ireland. She has 23 caps, which includes several senior caps as well. So I would anticipate her being a very key member, and especially as she's pairing up with Michelle McGee. I wonder whether that's just making sure that we've got some experience with bringing the younger player on, who hopefully in 2 years' time, if they qualify, we'll see in Botswana. And
Jenna is not unfamiliar in terms of netball in her family.
No, Lisa Bowman obviously played for Team Northumbria in the Netball Super League, and has been playing obviously regularly for the Northern Ireland senior squad.
And then looking at England, all these players are eligible to play in 2017. So who are the ones we should be really watching today?
I think you've got two very experienced players in Alice Travis at goal shooter, who was actually competing in the 2013 World Youth Champs. You've got Jess Shaw, the younger sister of Rachel Shaw, who is, we know, very familiar in Team Bath colours. And Jess Shaw was in the long squad for 2013. So two players who've got some experience. Similarly, we've got some exciting youngsters. We've got Rebecca Holt at wing attack, who has been a very exciting wing attack over the last couple of years. And all these players travelled to Australia in the summer before World Cup to play in getting some Australian opposition. So they've had some time together.
So, and as you can see, the teams are getting ready to take to the court there. Both teams are starting the lineup, and very shortly the starting 7 for both sides are going to be called onto the court here at the Aberdeen Sports Village in Aberdeen. Right, we're ready for the start of the match here. It's England versus Northern Ireland. Umpire for this match, Tracy Lamb and Joanne Lilly, with the reserve Anne-Marie Aitken. And ball girls for the game tonight from the Robert Gordon's College. And here we go, Northern Ireland getting us off to a start. Good drive in there by the goal attack, McCambridge, and it's first blood to Northern Ireland off their centre pass. So very comfortable start by England. Takes it to 1-1. Early thoughts, Maggie?
Two goal shooters who both come out of the circle, offering for the pass with the goal attacks driving in. So similar play.
Very good. Into goal shooter Moore. And Northern Ireland takes slight lead. Unforced error there by England, but repeated by Northern Ireland. Teams just need to settle.
Yes, they're both pretty nervous. It's the first match, and just need a little bit of time to settle down.
England bringing the ball down patiently. Good shooting by Dixon at goal attack. Good hands then by Marshall, wing defence for England. Ball being brought down the court nicely.
You're looking at some nervous England players there at the moment. It's just that last important feed into the circle.
And would you say that's down to some good defence from the Northern Ireland team?
I think on this occasion, I have to say, I think it was just a misunderstanding between the shooter and the mid-quarter. There's been some good backup play by England, and both Marshall and Williams available on the line, which is actually helping that attack settle.
So Northern Ireland being forced to put the ball up high, and good interception by England defence. Travers and Dixon working well in the circle. Good rebound by Alice Travers. Puts England in a slight lead at 3-2. And their centre pass. Good pressure by Northern Ireland, forcing England to work back. Penalty against Bowman.
They're tending to, England are finding the middle channel. Northern Ireland are forcing them wide, which is allowing Dixon particularly to come up through the middle. Marshall and Williams are playing a very important part, actually. And as a team, I think they're defensive-wise, as a team, they're working well, making errors for Northern Ireland.
So Northern Ireland got it back again. Good movement by the captain, Johnson, there at centre for Northern Ireland. Oh, good hands. Marshall, England's captain at wing defence. Good interception. And well worked by the goal attack goal shooter. Travers gets another go. The strength of Jess Shaw at centre is starting to show, and that drive onto the circle edge is something she does very, very well, and that's something that Northern Ireland are going to have to counteract in order to prevent the feeding always be on the circle edge. So, almost 5 minutes through the first quarter, and we're just beginning to see a bit of light between England and Northern Ireland at this early stage in the match, and another interception by England. Yeah, Gabrielle Marshall really does marshal those players at the back, and is creating the opportunity for both Williams and Airey to pick off those balls. So Gabrielle Marshall really is a good leader. So she's playing a really good role as wing defence and as the court captain. Yeah, definitely. She's the pressure they're forcing the error every time. Just pure hard marking. And into the England goal shooting circle very easily on that occasion, and no mistake from Travers takes the score to 8-2 to England. Oh. Good defence there by Rebecca Airey, goalkeeper for England. Again, Northern Ireland have been forced to put the high ball in. Yeah, I think if they can wait an extra second, and they can wait for another option to come through, but they're really just looking at that first forward option, which I don't think is strictly necessary. Northern Ireland really need to put some defensive pressure on this one, get themselves back in this early stage of the match. Travers very much playing a front position there, seems to have lots of space in the circle. Yes, and that was a great example of Rebecca Holt's vision and looking not just for the obvious option, but looking to feed it to Dixon, who then sent it into Travers. Here we go, that's another high ball coming in, but luckily Northern Ireland held on to it. And Rachel Moore will be pleased to put that one away. Just some good shooter-to-shooter balls in there between Dixon and Travis in the England circle.
Yes, I think there's some real looking at some good straight line balls and flat passes going in, so we're not allowing any interception by Bowman or McGee.
Northern Ireland just being forced again to put the long ball. Unlucky there, the wing defence, Chloe Howes just fell into the circle for an offside, having got the tip.
That was well done by Howes, actually. She forced Rebecca Holt further wide, and Rebecca Holt didn't re-offer, and they were tempted to pass to her, so well done to the wing defence. Like to see Bowman and McGee just take a little bit of a risk, one of them coming around the front in order to perhaps force the high ball in, which would enable then an opportunity for an interception or a tip, rather than accepting that just the front ball goes straight in.
So just over halfway through the first quarter here at the opening game of the Under-21 Netball Europe Championships in association with Inspire Sport, and we see England are taking quite a commanding lead, 12-3 at this stage. What do Northern Ireland need to do to get back into this quarter, Maggie?
I think they need to be just their possession and taking care of the ball. They need to be looking for options. They need to have three people actually just taking three options and looking for the one that's free. At the moment, they really only have one option.
So let's see what Northern Ireland can do off this possession. Johnson to
that was better.
O'Neill.
That was better. Johnson drew the defence, and it allowed then another player to be freed up.
So McCambridge with an opportunity and puts the ball away. Takes Northern Ireland to 4 now in this quarter.
This is really important now for England if they're going to actually make sure that they stay consistent and don't make any errors. Now's the time now to go into this last part of the quarter error-free.
So contact called against Bowman at goalkeeper. In fact, both players now out. Ball seems to be going into the circle just a little bit too easy at the moment.
Yeah, I really would like to see, as I say, McGee and Bowman just taking a little bit more of a risk. But on the other hand, we're also needing Johnson and Howes to ensure that they keep their players off the circle edge, and that needs to be done from the from the centre downwards. So it's that important work of being goal side.
So England bring the ball down again. Travis working outside the circle.
Rebecca Holt likes that centre spot on the circle edge, and if we can just keep her off that, then Northern Ireland will have a bit more of an opportunity.
So better defence from McGee and Bowman for Northern Ireland, and they bring the ball out. Good hands by England's Holt at wing attack. Perhaps a little disappointing, just that control of the ball and too many unforced errors, maybe.
I think a little bit more experience by Howes. You can see what she's trying to do. She just needs to hold on to the ball a little bit longer and just wait for that second option to come through.
And it's interesting, if you actually look at the experience and the age of the players on court, Northern Ireland have actually a slightly more experienced team in terms of age. England's slightly younger, with all players eligible to be selected for Botswana.
Yes, and I think there's 2 or 3 key players in this England squad that really have had that, what I call under-21 championship experience, and I think it shows at the moment from that point of view. That error wasn't necessary. They really need to look wide and they need to look across the court.
So, timeout called for injury to the Northern Ireland centre, Captain Katie Johnson. What do you think the Northern Ireland bench will be saying to their players, Maggie?
they have to do their own job first. They've got to really, from defence point of view, they've got to really mark their player and force them wide, dictate them to the sidelines and not allow them to get onto the circle edge. Attack-wise, they need to just hold the ball, just change the pace a little bit, and just look to swing the ball across to the other channel, but making sure that it's not a ball that's going away, so therefore your Williams and your Marshalls can pick it off. It's doable, and they're capable of doing it, but they just need to give themselves a little bit more confidence and time.
And how much do you think the competition that these teams actually are able to play in their respective countries counts towards the confidence that they'll feel when coming on the court? Because if you look at some of the England players, most of them are connected to the Super League franchises. Northern Ireland perhaps playing club and above netball, but maybe not quite to the same level.
I think it's massive. You can't replace competition, and players need to be playing at the right competition. And I mean, if you talk about the England players, they've been linked to franchises, and I think this coming year that some of them are actually going to find themselves in the starting 7 or at least in the 12, and so it's immense. And this is what, sadly, Northern Ireland obviously haven't got that same opportunity, so this is where they get their opportunity, and it just doesn't replace what they do back at home.
So timeout over, no changes on the court, both teams come back out the same as they ended. And as we head into the last 3 minutes of the game, it's England centre pass.
A textbook centre pass. Great timing.
Just a little bit more push under the post. The shooters always say the close ones are the hardest.
Yeah.
Northern Ireland seem to perhaps just slow down the pace of their attack. Maybe they heard the advice from you, Maggie, during that timeout.
On the whole, the English team, particularly the defence end, are a lot bigger than the Northern Ireland, and hence the reason why we just don't want that ball in the air.
So McCambridge takes a shot at goal. It's goal attack and puts it nicely away to take Northern Ireland to 5 goals in this quarter so far. Lovely. Very good centre pass. Straight into the circle. Travis makes no mistake at goal shooter. That was well read by Marshall for England. Good interception.
Really pleased to see Travis looking settled in there. It's been she's been an experienced player, but it's not always easy being that experienced goal shooter all the time, but aiming for her consistency in shooting this season.
So Dixon takes penalty pass, but good rebound by McGee, goal defence, youngest player on the court. I'm not sure you would notice that from the way she's playing, to be fair.
No, I think she's doing well. I think it's hard. She's got Dixon isn't experienced, but she is a really good up and coming player. Has got what I call silky moves, and it's quite hard to mark. She's got a good change of pace. So McGee's being tested this afternoon.
Well, a little bit of misunderstanding there between two Northern Ireland attacking players. England gain possession. We're into the last minute of the game now for this quarter. Again, very good understanding between Dixon and Travis in the England shooting end. 19-5 to England. Last 30 seconds.
What England are doing very well is really squeezing the Northern Irish team into a small space, which is really enabling them to either create an error, or in that case create a turnover by Gabrielle Marshall. Marshall comes out with the ball, but actually it was the whole team defence that created it.
And there we go, end of the first quarter. England are leading 19 goals against Northern Ireland, who are currently on 5. So as the team comes in, what would your thoughts be on that first quarter?
From an England point of view, I think I was pleased that they settled. I was pleased that they had a minute or two where they were really making their own errors, but they actually finished the game strongly. Defensively, very, very pleased with them.
So let's see now if we can go to the England coach and just hear the feedback she's giving.
It does make that second phase really easy. Again, just keep thinking about the depth between you so you're not level, so that one can come and lead it, and that will change. I think when you've got ball side, just hold it and take it rather than doing that flip round. Because you've got that, and it can just be a simple front ball that you can just... So that's good. Changing paces more effective for you. When you're defending the centre pass, if you're definitely on one, so if you're on this one, so that's them and wherever Gabby is, cover that, but have your vision this way, so that if the goal attack comes across, you can play to that. But at the moment, you're looking over that yeah. So just think about on one, look to play to the other, rely on Gabby for any calls on this one. But it's good. Just keep that confidence.
Basically, Gabby's going to be here, just goes wide so that if the goal attack goes and comes back, Gabby's going to go on that.
Second quarter. So let's just have a quick look at the England team. There is one change. Goal defence, Francesca Williams is coming off the court and Ursula is coming on. And we're just waiting to see Northern Ireland. Any changes? We have a few changes here. So at goalkeeper, we now have Hannah Ada. At goal shooter, Jenna Bowman moved from goalkeeper. Wing attack, Clodagh McCambridge. And goal attack, Emma McGee. So quite a few changes for Northern Ireland at quarter time, Maggie. Perhaps not a surprise.
No, I think they needed some experience at that top end, and I think they've put Bowman in there at shooter in order to perhaps steady the ship a little bit. It'll be interesting to see how Adair matches up.
So good interception.
Opportunity for a turnover by Northern Ireland now. Being forced to play a short game. And it created an error with the footwork.
Interesting to see Bowman playing both ends of the court.
Yes. Be interesting to see how she matches up against Rebecca Airy. I think that will be an interesting tussle at that end.
So goalkeeper Hannah Adair now on for Northern Ireland.
Again, a very easy second phase, second pass and centre pass, and it went straight through to goal. And that's what Northern Ireland have really got to deal with, that defending of the centre pass.
Northern Ireland just looking a little bit less confident and being forced to put the ball up.
Great defence by Vicky O'Sola, which then created additional pressure by Gabrielle Marshall.
Contact against Northern Ireland centre. Good interplay between the two shooters. And England now 23-5 in the second quarter.
That's what I mean by that lovely change of pace by Dixon. Just came in at the last minute. And Travers saw her. Lovely, lovely change of pace.
So I guess everyone in England will be asking who's the next Pamela Cookie now that she's retired.
Yes.
Are we potentially seeing some of the replacements here this weekend?
We have hope so, and Dixon is definitely one of those players that is currently playing in that position.
So Northern Ireland yet to score this quarter, wanting to put a bit of pressure on. Well held by the Cambridge there, has moved to wing attack in this quarter.
It's a better centre pass by Northern Ireland, and they were able to find that Bowman straight away.
And Bowman gets Northern Ireland off to onto the scoring sheet in this second quarter. And that goal by Travers takes England to 27-6. Oh, very adeptly kept in by Bowman and converted as she came off the back line. There you go, lovely bit of replay there. Good tip by Holt at wing attack for England. And again by Osler, come on at goal defence. England seem to be working really well as a defensive unit all the way down the court.
Yeah, no, and one of the biggest challenges is getting your goal attacks and wing attacks to mark, and Rebecca Holt is doing a sterling job, as is Dixon, and that really is creating the ball to be slowed down. Couple that with some great defending by Osola here. What Osola and Airy now need to do is work out how they are going to restrict that ball into Bowman, because she has made an impact since she's been on the court at the goal shooter position. Yeah, well picked up by Airy, and that was created by Osola as well.
So England quickly bringing the ball out straight down into Travers under the post, and that takes the score 29-7 in England's favour. Another goal.
It's important for England now to keep this consistency and not get complacent now, especially off the centre pass, because at the moment it's quite a simple way of getting down.
Katie Johnson at centre for Northern Ireland just pulled for footwork. Good handling there by Gabrielle Marshall. Wing defence for England.
Much better by McGee there, trying to really put pressure on that pass, and nearly got a hand to it.
Good tip there by McGee in the circle, disrupting England's attack. And Travers. England just feel like they're running away with the game just a little bit now.
Yeah, I would like to see McGee staying with Rhea Dixon and actually working her, because I think actually then she will just have one focus. At the moment at centre pass, she seems to be just covering the line, which is allowing that ball to get so easily down the court.
Good interception there by Adair, Airy by England. Again, England's transition from defence into attack looks effective.
Something that England's been working on for quite a while, and it's something which has always been, I think, quite poor in the past. But it's clearly being effective at the moment. I think they obviously
having just said that and being effective,
it's always the way, isn't it?
England under the pressure from Northern Ireland at the centre pass, unforced error. Northern Ireland bringing the ball down. Johnson out to McGee now, sister to Michelle, who's in defence.
O'Neill at wing attack for Northern Ireland is actually causing problems for the defence and drawing the defenders, and if she can keep recognising that and the rest of the team recognise it, then actually they can get the ball to the circle edge.
So injury to centre for England, Jess Shaw.
Apologies, I should have said McCambridge, of course, at wing attack now.
For your information, ladies and gentlemen, at the quarter-time substitution, the changes to the teams were: for England, Sola went to go defend; for Northern Ireland, Adair to go keep; Bowman to go shoot; McGee to go attack; and McCambridge to wing attack.
So what do you think there might be any substitutions, Maggie? 7 minutes into the second quarter.
I wonder whether England might make some substitutions in order to start the next group coming. I'm envisaging that the whole squad will be playing over these 60 minutes. Jess Shaw has obviously been looked at. I've seen the head coach, Jan Crabtree, talking to her. At the moment she seems to be staying on. But I see Gabrielle Marshall potentially with no bib on, so I'm wondering whether she will come off or as a change. If that's the case, then Jess Shaw will have to move as well.
So indeed looks like England are making a substitution.
Yeah, as we say, Jess Shaw will have to be moved or changed, and Gabrielle Marshall will go to centre, and Lydia Walker's coming on at wing defence.
So possibly just to protect her through the rest of the tournament, nothing serious, hopefully.
I think so, yes, yes. Important that they're in for the long haul.
So Northern Ireland's centre pass, score stands 33 England, 8 to Northern Ireland. Well held there by McGee under tremendous pressure from Osler. Goal defence, England. England bring the ball out again. Marshall in her new position at centre. And good long shot from Alice Travis. England now on their own centre pass. Good recovery there by England off the fumble by Travis.
Yeah, great defending by the England trio there, which really gave Johnson no choices at all. It was a no-win at all from that point of view.
So we introduce from England, Lydia Walker has come on at wing defence. In a game like this, Maggie, where there is a clear lead now before half-time, what must be going through the minds of both teams? England, how do they carry on?
England, I mean, the coaches will have clear goals, the players will have set goals, and it will be very important that they meet those goals, and they would have been looking at what those targets are. So very often you can be winning by a lot but still not reaching your own personal goals. So that will be a very, very important point. I think the other point is that they will need to ensure that certain combinations are being put out there, so they're starting to develop an understanding at this performance level. From a Northern Ireland point of view, it's important that they continue to work and continue to concentrate on some of the particular skills that they have been asked to do. And I think from a coach's point of view, it's really looking to see how the changes can be made. And clearly, they've moved Bowman to shooter, and that, although the score may not always reflect it, they are finding it easier in the circle. It's making our defenders have to think a little bit more.
So as we said earlier, the teams here will be focusing on 12 months' time, which will be the qualifier for the World Youth Netball Cup in 2017. And tell us a little bit about which teams and how many will go through from the region here.
Well, two teams will be going through, and that's very, very important to remember. England automatically qualify, so therefore, out of the 3 other home countries particularly, although there could be any others within Netball Europe, but Wales, Scotland and Northern Ireland will obviously be vying for those 2 spots, and that is a challenge. That's tough.
So Northern Ireland, Bowman scored another goal, take them into double figures, as England takes it to 39 goals to 10. 3 minutes to play in this quarter.
That's what you'd call an unforced error. Rebecca Holt picking that up. And that's the kind of thing that really, from a Northern Ireland point of view, they need to be really trying to say, OK, we just need to stick to the basics and actually work through the court with our pass, making our passes as accurate as we can.
So whilst Northern Ireland perhaps aren't performing to the level that they would want to in this game, there really is still a lot to play for in terms of their own personal play, how the team gels, and 12 months away isn't that long when you think about it.
No, but it is all about player development, and you've got, as you said, that they haven't got as much competition as perhaps some of the England girls have, and it's really important that the players learn and take from it, and they learn, they go away and they train again, and that's how they'll improve. So looking ahead at 12 months' time, that's what they'll be aiming for. So it's what they take from here and what the learning they take, which will make the difference next year.
Northern Ireland again just forced to use the high ball in, but it's not going over the England goal defence. And keeper, good movement by Travis under the postal on that baseline, creating space, and scores again.
This is where you'd be looking to the England players to ensure that they don't give away those silly penalties and know what they can go for and what they can't go for, because when the pressure's on, they've got to practice that kind of skill as well.
Bowman certainly has made a difference, playing down at the goal shooter end for Northern Ireland, scored again.
Definitely, and it's interesting. Then you're looking at how Airy and Osola will actually adjust and adapt, and all credit to the Irish for making that big decision.
Northern Ireland down to another centre pass, handling error there, gives it back to England, and we are just about in the last minute of this quarter. The score standing at quite a big 42-11.
Yes, it's now at half time when they go in. It's about, you know, for both teams, about starting again, regrouping, and actually saying, okay, these are the goals and this is what we're aiming for in the second half. So very, very important that Northern Ireland also set those goals as well, independent of the score.
And a great shot by Dixon at goal attack for England. Very well read by the Northern Ireland goalkeeper Eder there, and get the tip. Interception.
Yeah. Adair and McGee are actually trying to work really well together. Both of them now starting to take those risks. It's just then taking care of the ball afterwards.
So as we enter the last few seconds, and we end at half-time in the game. England on 43, Northern Ireland on 11. So all to play for in the second half of this game.
Yeah, I would like to see Northern Ireland defensively just doing their own job. Adair and McGee actually showed something just then in the last few minutes, that actually if they just really concentrate on their own play, take some risks like Adair did, came flying out, then the shooters, they're not sure what they're going to do. So very, very important.
So let's go down to the team bench here and hear what the coaches for England, first of all, are saying to the players after the first half performance.
Right, can we let Liv sit down there then? Right, come on then, Liv. Right, when we do work it so we take the centre pass centrally, it really does help out our second phase, so just work that. Remember what we did at training yesterday and worked better when we had this pairing. Okay, mix it up. And just be aware, don't let the little secrets out. And we want the quality of the movement. Some of the movement is getting a bit sloppy around there, so really sharp and change the direction and punch the ball out. George, front holds. If you feel there's a space to come out, you come out, but Liv, you have to be entering as George comes out. Confidence in your shots and put them up. Right. You gonna shoot? Right, again, just working it, working that circle together. Just build these two into it. Let them come into it. Other than that, our centre pass is working really well. And we just have to maintain that.
So I keep working, and keep communicating, Hannah, keep communicating with these guys. All right?
Freezes pearls.
Jenna, brilliant. Okay, just get that, just hold that change of direction to the last minute, all right? Because you're going a wee bit early and you're already on the space.
Keep on, guys. Let's go for 20 and it's
No, we're 5 minutes, guys. We're all right. Relax. Relax. 3 minutes. Come on.
Is there a window table or affiliate sport? Cash?
She does like the nice line, but she'll drop it as well and she'll use her body. So you just need to cross the back then, and you got to give yourself a chance to go back. Right. You just do that 50 seconds. That's very good. So that was good, right?
And I'm delighted that I'm now joined by Tracy Neville, England coach. Tracy, you've been watching the game. What's your views on England and Northern Ireland today?
I think England had a really good start. I think the defensive pressure from Northern Ireland is not very strong, which is allowing England easy access to the ball. I would like our defence a little bit to stop the Northern Ireland getting behind them. I think that's one of our weaknesses at the moment. But in all, I think our timing's good. I think we're allowed to do the same things a few times, and hopefully Northern Ireland will come out and change that, because I think we've got a pattern of play that we're getting very comfortable with, which is seeing some ball handling errors and some errors in our game. So I'm thinking that Jan will probably make some changes in this next half, and we'll see what the new combinations come on. For us, it's about viewing the talent that we have and seeing what we've got for the future going into that World Youth Under-21.
So you'll be looking at these both from a perspective of future players for 2019, but also potentially what's coming up through teams like Northern Ireland that you're going to have to play against. So anyone in the Northern Ireland side that you've been impressed with today?
I have to say that the goal shooter is Elisa Bowman, number 2. I think she plays very much like her sister. I think what they've got, I think they're lacking a little bit of confidence on court. I think they move their ball really well and their pace is really good, but it's about managing that pace. So I think the centre court are bringing it down well, and they're catching us actually getting over the top of us. But as we're putting more defensive pressure on, they're losing a little bit of confidence in doing that. So I think that's what's letting them down at the moment.
So let's rejoin the game. My thanks to Tracy Neville for joining us. Here we go, start of the third quarter. It's England 43, Northern Ireland 11. And England have made some substitutions while we were just talking to Tracy there. In at goal shooter is Fisher, and Leach has come on at goal attack. And back at wing attack, Williams has now joined us back on the court there. So Northern Ireland have also made some substitutions. We now have Emma Cartmill on at goal attack. Ciara Gibson joins us at centre, and at goal defence, Catherine Hamilton. And Louise O'Neill is back to wing attack. Just really helpful for us commentators, keeping in touch with the game. So Maggie, the changes, what's your thoughts?
Just important to keep the changes. I think from an England point of view, it's a new shooting unit obviously going in, and it's important to get them going. I think it's from a back end, they're obviously looking at working out how the goalkeeper goal defence is, the different combinations. So, and from a Northern Ireland point of view, I think it's important that they also are looking for just refreshing and making sure that they're all getting that match experience out there in the Under-21 Championships.
So early start in this quarter. Fisher on at goal shooter for England. Will be glad to put the first one away. Always gives it a little bit more confidence.
Yeah, you shooters always need that little extra confidence. I know it's they're accountable at that end.
And that takes England 46 goals against Northern Ireland's 12.
Northern Ireland making sure that they keep that possession, keep that working, looking for that second option, which is good. And it's so much harder to mark if you've got these different movements of players working.
So Hamilton there for Northern Ireland on at goal defence in this quarter. Bowman just going out of court before she touched the ball. So throw into England with Williams now back on at goalkeeper. Contact called there against Lydia Walker, wing defence England. And Bowman does her job at goal shooter.
This is a slightly less experienced, obviously, shooting unit for England, so it'll be interesting to see how they settle down and how quickly they get into their rhythm. With the hope that Hamilton and Adair start.
So Olivia Leach there for England at goal attack, getting herself on the score sheet. Tracy Neville, England coach, just joined us and was talking about perhaps Northern Ireland needing a little bit more confidence in their own abilities.
Great marking by Northern Ireland. They're beginning to, they've obviously at half time been told to really do their own job, as well as, I was about to say give possession, but forcing that ball into the shooter there when there was other options. They just need to be patient.
Oh, that was a shame they lost the ball there, Northern Ireland, because at the moment this quarter is 3-2 to England, so a lot closer on the court.
Yeah, a couple of unforced errors by England, which those are the kind of things that I wouldn't want to see against, at this point when you've got a 47-13. That's their responsibility to limit those.
And great shooting by Leach for England.
Great movement off the centre pass, ball handling error by Leach, but however there was good understanding between Leach and Holt for that centre pass. Adair forcing Leach away from the post, but Fisher didn't need any assistance on that occasion.
Northern Ireland using the court perhaps a little bit better there. Well held. Oh. That's a great recovery from Ursula. Missed the first interception, but she was back for the second.
Exactly, that's what you want to see. She missed the first one and then just got herself back into it and forced an error by the Northern Ireland. Exactly what I want to see from a goal defence. Terrific.
So Williams working really well. And Adair back at goalkeeper for Northern Ireland. Marched really well in that earlier part of play, putting pressure on England, although they got the ball in.
Again, good movement by the centre pass, so the wing attack, goal attack, constantly moving, so there's always those options. Northern Ireland needing to keep them wide, really.
So Cartmill on goal attack for Northern Ireland. Good take by Bowman.
Good. Very good rebound by Cartmill there.
If you looked at the height of Cartmill, you'd argue that she is considerably smaller than two England defence, but timed that brilliantly.
Yeah, she timed it really well, and I think the defence needed to be a little bit more assertive in that point. But it was her timing that got that rebound, which was great. And that's the kind of thing we want to see, is just the Northern Ireland just unleashing themselves a little bit and just letting the ball go and taking risks on occasions in defence.
So Fisher scores again for England, taking the score to 52 goals to 14. So Northern Ireland again struggling to get some consistency in this quarter. Only 3 goals so far, over halfway.
Centre pass is the crucial one, and they've got to really. I think they have to look at the centre passes and look at. They've got to be able to at least have scoring opportunities of those centre passes, and that's really important for any team. Can't afford to be giving those errors back to England. That was well created by Marshall there, which allowed Fisher to take that ball on the circle edge.
All 4 of the England shooters seem to be playing rotating netball, shooter-to-shooter ball, which perhaps we haven't always seen so much of previously with England.
Yeah, I think it's exciting, especially when I think you've got somebody like Fisher, who really is a traditional, what I call post and go shooter, and she's learning the court craft and gradually learning. She's a young player, and it is exciting. You're starting to get goal attacks driving in, cutting the goal defence up, just like Pamela Cookie does and did. So yes, I think England have got to have some options in there against different defence.
Northern Ireland really just need to tighten up.
Yeah, they're starting to dictate a little bit more, and but sadly got the contact then under the post.
So in terms of competition, where would the under-21s feature for these players here this weekend? You know, what does it mean to these players to be representing their countries here?
Oh, I think it's immense. Representing your country, putting on your colours. It's so important for every single player. They've got family and parents supporting, and it's big. And Netball Scotland have done an amazing job in getting an amazing amount of spectators here this weekend in Aberdeen, and it's nerve-wracking for all of them. So very, very important.
And for the players to do what they do, there's a huge team effort that goes on behind the scenes. You mentioned family and support, but here in Aberdeen, Aberdeen Sports Village has welcomed us. Aberdeen City Council being really supportive. It really is a team effort in the broadest sense, not just on the court but off, to make events like this happen.
Immense, and again, Netball Scotland have done a phenomenal job in organising it, and their experience from World Youth Champs 2013 and Commonwealth Games last year in 2014, really they're getting very professional at this, even though they're volunteers, all of them.
That's another great attacking centre pass by England under the post to Fisher, taking the score now England 58, Northern Ireland 15.
It was a really good lateral ball across the court to swing it, but then it just lets itself down. Really, we need to see a shooter in the circle for Northern Ireland. We can't have them all out, and it's important that they just work it and see each other and where each other are moving.
So missed by Fisher, but she picked up the rebound and got the goal on the second opportunity.
Rebecca Holt's timing is superb. It will be interesting to see how she plays against Scotland and Wales in these next 2 days, because she really has taken that wing attack spot very, very comfortably in this game and able to find the circle edge so well.
And that was a much better attack by Northern Ireland. Found Bowman under the post. That'll give them a bit more confidence.
Yeah, and it was purely their timing and their great moves with O'Neill and Gibson really playing well together to actually feed Bowman.
I think they're just holding time there, a bit of moisture on the court. So just over 4 minutes to go in the third quarter here at the Aberdeen Sports Village. Ball taken by Gibson at centre for Northern Ireland. Bowman trying to thread the ball through an eye of a needle between the two England players there and got away with it.
Lovely attack by Ireland, and Cartmill is actually working out the timing of her move well, and Bowman has been very assertive in those last two moves, which has paid dividends.
Bit of nerves perhaps into the circle, but puts it away. Northern Ireland now on 17 for the match so far.
Cartmill is really directing traffic out there as a goal attack, and her moves are actually creating some space for the others, but she needs some support and possibly even some support and looking back to the third line as well.
Good quick hands by the two Northern Ireland shooters.
Much better last few minutes for Northern Ireland, which will hopefully give them the confidence to keep moving on. Lovely play between Marshall and Holt. That pass across the circle isn't as easy as they make it look, and a great move.
So good pressure by Ostala, the England go defence there, and turnover. England to bring the ball in. Not received in the centre third for the centre pass.
Lovely use of the triangle again.
And by that, Maggie, you mean swinging the ball and looking for ease into the circle?
We had Marshall at the top, and then Holt passing out to the side and then in. Timing excellent, and again another excellent time onto the circle edge, and George Fisher showing some real improvement in her footwork and her movement in the circle.
So as we enter the last minute and a half of the game, England 63, Northern Ireland on 18. Northern Ireland just feel like they're chasing the game just a little bit now.
Yes, and some unforced errors, footwork errors. You know, they had a little bit of a spring when Cartmill was really directing the work up the front end, but these unforced errors just have to be eliminated if they're going to be competitive.
And good long shot by Leach, goal attack, but deemed to have stepped outside the court there on the centre pass. So Northern Ireland have a chance now in the last minute of this quarter. Try to get another goal on the scoreboard. Understandably, there's been quite a lot of change in this quarter. Does that unsettle the players, perhaps?
I think it can do. It depends how they've been developed in their training and their playing. I think it's something they have to get used to. Very, very important. But yeah, it can too. Particularly perhaps Northern Ireland, who perhaps have had less opportunities to practice that kind of skill.
Certainly didn't seem to be showing any signs of the changes in that attack.
No, I think they'll be happier in this attack. That there has been, it's still been inconsistent, but there has been some opportunities for some better moves through the court and better timing. 6 seconds always seems a short time, but actually it's a lot longer than it really felt. So that could have been brought through the quarter just that little bit slower, and that also is something that England would work on.
So at the end of the third quarter here in the Aberdeen Sports Village, it's England 64, Northern Ireland 18.
64-18.
So some more changes perhaps, Maggie, at this point?
I would envisage that there will be changes from England point of view, possibly another combination just to look at, ready for their 2 matches on Saturday and Sunday. There's always a bigger picture, and for Northern Ireland I would say that there will also be some changes and looking. I feel Bowman and Cartmill actually started to create just a few little question marks for a Solar and Airy.
And here we go, we can have a look here at the earlier interplay in the game between Dixon and Travis.
And it's important for the Northern Ireland not to be given too much information at any of these quarter breaks as well, from a coaching point of view. Just some key points, 2 or 3 key points to work on throughout the game, otherwise it just becomes overload.
And that was the really good ball into Bowman under the post, off balance, and managed to put the shot up.
Yeah, it showed great footwork, great balance by Bowman, and when she gets her timing right, she is very, very dynamic, and she really makes that move onto the ball. It's effective, but they just cannot force the ball into her.
So England are making 2 substitutions coming into the last quarter of this game. We have Rebecca Airy coming back on at goal defence, and going into wing defence, Alana John joins the game for the first time. So let's just see if we can have a listen of what's happening in the Northern Ireland bench.
And I like the centre passes, so keep giving them that way and keep looking for the backup in the goal defence, because you're not going to get in that centre. Keep going.
So we're just about to start the last quarter in this first game of the Netball Europe Under-21 Championships, and Northern Ireland running the changes again. We have Bowman going back to goalkeeper, Cartmill moving to goal attack, Johnson back to wing defence, McGee on at goal attack, and Moore at goal shooter. So in this last quarter, England in a commanding lead, 64 goals against Northern Ireland's 19. But almost 2 new teams out here, Maggie.
Yeah, I mean, it's 2 teams with probably slightly different objectives, but both wanting to develop their own performance, improve what they're putting out there on the court, and just looking at different combinations. It's interesting, Bowman going back to goalkeeper, but clearly Moore has come back on to play with McGee, which is a new combination in that shooting end, which again is important, especially as Bowman is ineligible for 2017, so they have got to start developing that shooting unit without her.
Another goal to England and Northern Ireland. Bring the ball down. It'd be interesting to see the quarter score at the end of this one and see how these players are adjusting and reacting to their new combinations.
Definitely, that was a great feed in from McGee to Moore, and we've got Cartmill at wing attack, who's a very experienced player, who's at World Youth 2013. So we've got an experienced player there. And their focus will be just 1 goal at a time, just to peg back and see how they do in this last quarter.
So Fisher slots another one for England. That was very nice. Ball under the post to McGee, back in at goal attack. Northern Ireland will be pleased with that attack.
Yeah, the timing was great. Asola won't have liked that because she got lost for dead, and she needs to mark. But great play by McGee though because of the timing and the risk of taking that feed in as well, which is what I'm pleased to see.
And another good attack by Northern Ireland. Leach scoring goal attack for England. Sorry. England's defence definitely tighter in that one.
Yeah.
Whistler bringing the ball down to John at wing defence. And again, very confident shot by Leach at goal attack for England.
Yes, it's great to see a balanced shooting and the goal attacks being prepared to put those shots up as well as the goal shooter, and that's what you're looking for, is two shooters both prepared to take their shots.
England really are taking a commanding lead, 69-21 in this final quarter here in the Aberdeen Sports Village.
England really forced Northern Ireland into a very tight spot there in the mid-court, and really England were very unlucky, but it's good that it's now with more.
Well held there by McGee.
Another textbook centre pass straight through, but we're looking now for Fisher to put those balls in the first attempt, not the second attempt, because they're going to be rebounded by the opposition, possibly tomorrow or Sunday if we don't.
Good competition there between the goal shooter and goalkeeper, but England keeper Airy just out of court then. Throw into Northern Ireland. McGee didn't anticipate the length of arms there of John at centre.
Johnson at wing defence is really working hard. She's putting a little bit more pressure in that mid-court. There's been a couple of tips this quarter. She's gone from centre to wing defence, and I think having a better impact there.
She's had a good game, the Northern Ireland captain, hasn't she?
Yeah, I think she's trying to lead. I'm looking now as she's taking every other ball nearly, so she's just trying to lead, and she's also trying to make Rebecca Holt's life that little bit harder.
Oh, unfortunate there, McGee just out of court on the sideline, so throw into England. Northern Ireland putting enough pressure to force England to think again and go back before they build for the attack. It's a very good ball in there.
Nice hold by Fisher, and Marshall read it really well.
Oh, there you go, Johnson again.
Yeah, no, she's a little powerhouse and wants the ball and is hungry for the ball, and that's what you want. And that's what you want from the Northern Ireland team. You can't say they've given up. They've actually carried on marking. They're trying to mark harder. It's definitely hard for England to bring the ball out of the back. They're struggling that little bit more.
So when you're on the court and you're playing and you see a gap which is now 50, what must the players be thinking? Are they concentrating on their own game? Are they going to be influenced by the score?
I would hope that they're not influenced at all, and that's what they've got to learn. They're still young. I'm sure one or two of them are learning it, but they just got to get on with it and just take each goal. Each goal is as important as the last one, because they know they're going to come up against other opposition, both Northern Ireland and England, and they just push the goal up.
Again, England used the width on the court and the interplay between the goal attack, goal shooter really well. And we're very fortunate for the second Netball Europe competition to be live streamed. This one free on demand. First time ever for Netball Europe to be able to do that, thanks to our sponsors and partners like QTV Sports, Aberdeen City Council, and everybody else. For people who are not here, you know, and for people who are not actually playing, what does that mean to be able to see live streamed quality netball like this?
Oh, I think it's so important. We want women to take part in more sport. We've got youngsters who are needing to take part in more sport, and youngsters can actually see their own age group now playing. So we've got used to the internationals and Super League, but now we're actually seeing under 21s. Some of these are under 19s, and so youngsters can actually identify with this age group much more. So a fantastic opportunity for this to happen. Also, for these players out here, they actually are not used to being on live TV, and
so
I think
perhaps that's a bit of pressure.
Oh yeah, immense
into
pressure.
The game,
and it's great, and a little bit of kudos as well. People, they get to know a little bit more, and I think it just brings the sport in all 4 countries. It raises their profile. Immense.
Oh, great hands there by Rebecca Airy. The tip off the ball, but still possession for Northern Ireland.
Moore has returned to the court, I think, a lot more confident, and it just goes to show, isn't it? You start out, she's now back on, she's watched the game, she's come back on, she's got McGee and she's got Cartmill there to support her, and she's really fighting for every ball this quarter. It's great to see.
Northern Ireland are tightening up the play. The gap isn't really increasing by that 50. They've managed to hold the
and you ask
score.
Us, you know, what are people aiming for? That's what they're aiming for. They're aiming at each quarter, because each quarter have had different combinations. So the players, they go out there and they're going to play their own game, and it's important for them to focus on what they've been told to do. I do think Northern Ireland are putting a lot more pressure as individuals. And again, now we've got another turnover. So England have struggled a little bit getting the ball out of the back this quarter. And that's all credit to the Northern Ireland team.
So that whole point you were making earlier about it's not all over to the end of the game. There's so much to play for. It's not just about the score. It's about so much more in games of this nature.
Vital at this age. It's not the final story. Each player is learning and seeing how they can adjust and improve and learn from either being on the court for the 60 minutes or coming on and off.
And for some of these players, Maggie, this might be their first real experience of international competition and netball. What do you think they're feeling or taking away from the weekend?
Well, I think somebody like Alana John has come on now for England at wing defence. This is her first cap. And you know, she would have been nervous sitting there, but she's been given that opportunity to come on. So, and similarly in Northern Ireland, many of them have played under 17, under 19. This is a big step up to under 21, and very, very important that they get that opportunity. But it is nerve-wracking for them. But that's what it's about. And if they want to play senior netball, they've got to get used to this level.
And we don't talk probably enough in our sport about the umpires, who are an equally as important part of the game. We've hardly made a comment about the umpires today, and we've got Tracy Lamb and Joanne Lilly on the court. So I remember when I was playing, you always used to think if you don't notice the umpires, they're doing a good job. Yep. What are your thoughts?
Exactly, absolutely the same. And these umpires have been nominated by their NGBs and the national governing bodies, and again they are getting mentored and supported throughout this competition as well. So it's all part of this development process. So the umpires are learning. For some of them, it's their first international opportunity as well. So it's a great opportunity at under 21 level, I think. A lot to play for, because keep going back to this World Youth Netball Cup. That's in 2 years. Both umpires and players are both looking to go there. I do think Rebecca Airy has been pretty solid in this quarter at goalkeeper for England, making life hard for that shooting end,
and
taking
that
some high balls.
Was a very confident shot by Leach under the post. Or not so much under the post, in fact. Good tip there by Northern Ireland's Hamilton in there.
Yes, Northern Ireland put them under a little bit of pressure, but England unravelled itself with a good hold by George Fisher in that last feed in.
And the gap now is extended to 55, so England are on 79, Northern Ireland on 24. With just under 3 minutes to play.
Yeah, and another good pressure by Northern Ireland, which has forced an error. And so we get another shooting opportunity. Important now for England to get this ball through to the goal. That will be what they're aiming for at this level of the game. Great vision by Marshall in. That's where it's important to just carry on doing your own job. Important for Northern Ireland now in this last minute and a half just to keep doing what they were trying to do at the beginning of this quarter. And I guess fitness comes into it as well. It's important to be able to put out that 60-minute game.
So England netball bringing the ball down into attack. We've talked quite a lot about Rebecca Holt. She's had a good game for England, wing attack.
Yes, it'd be interesting to see where Northern Ireland gives the most valuable player to for the opposition, and similarly from England. But I do believe that Rebecca Holt's has a sound game, and both defensively and in attack.
So what we're talking about there is that in this Netball Europe events, the coach of the opposing team is asked to pick the player of the match for them from the opposition. Yep. And at the end of the event, the scores are all added up, and that's how we arrive at the most valuable player. So it's voted on by the coaches, which is quite important.
It is, and Rachel Moore, actually, for the goal shooter for Northern Ireland, was voted under-17 player of Championship Netball Europe in the past. So she's a player who did get that award at an under-17 level.
So here we go, last few seconds. And England managed to score. And at the end of the game, it's a resounding victory for England on 84, Netball Northern Ireland on 24. So, Maggie, in summary, what would you take from that game if you were both teams?
I think for Northern Ireland team that there are some combinations there which showed some potential, which need to just develop some confidence really in there. But I admire the fact that they've had to make changes. It's not just about a 7, and I think that's important. They need to do their own job in defence, and I think that's a key point that they need to take away, and they need to be looking at their centre passes in order to keep possession. From an England point of view, they need to just look at ensuring there's consistency without any unforced errors. But
okay, so that's it from our coverage of this match. England are resounding winners. Keep your views coming at Netball Europe 21 and use the hashtag Netball Europe 21. And remember, this match and all the matches will be available on the YouTube channel at youtube.com/Netball Europe. My thanks to Inspire Sports, Aberdeen Sports Village and Aberdeen City Council for their support in bringing you this coverage, which has been a QTV sports production for Netball Europe. We'll be back shortly for more live coverage from Aberdeen. Scotland versus Wales is our next match. We hope you join us then. From me, Lynn Carpenter, and all of us here at Aberdeen Sports Village, have a very good evening.
fear, but hey, it happens all the time. We worry about our mind when we've just got today. So live just for today. Why do you close your eyes when you know that the day is breaking? I'm lying next to you and I feel that the world is waking up a better way. Oh, can we take on the day? Hold on to the hour, this year, this day. There's nothing in this life to fear, but hey, it happens all the time. We worry about our mind when we've just got today. So live just for today. Stop pretending life could be much better than this. We'll see the sky try to explain how the sun, the moon, the stars, and the universe is ours if you want it. I'm lying next to you and I feel that the world is waking up and away. Oh, can we take on the day? Don't you want